Welcome, Facebook Live replayers. We're excited to have this special interview. And you guys know I don't take that lightly. And I'm going to tell you a lot of different reasons why it's special. I've already done a lot of edification, which I didn't really need to do much edification because most of you, if you're not living underneath a rock, know who Brian Carruthers is. If you're brand new to the industry, you don't. And that's probably why we can talk about these later. He's written two incredible books. I've read through both those. Who knows? He may have written more, but we can talk about those in a second. He has an organization of over 300,000 affiliates. He's been with this company for over 19 years, and the guy knows what he's talking about. The thing I like the most about Brian is there are a lot of leaders that are what I call, and Brian knows what I call them, has-beens. And that's no offense, because sometimes you make a lot of money and you get to go live the dream. You get to do whatever you want, whenever you want, and more power to them. But Brian's one of those people that, I mean, I'm still baffled at the consistency that he has, at the consistency of being a leader of leaders, not just a leader of followers, because there's a lot of people that are the leaders of followers and haven't every transition. And then he's always one of the top recruiters. I think one of the only times you weren't one of the top recruiters recently is when you had a new baby. And as soon as you had that new baby, that was probably, and you probably were still up there, but not as high as you'd like to be. But he's always actively engaged. And I think that's really fun. And so we can learn a lot from someone like Brian. And the other thing I will point out is a lot of network marketers were at the right place at the right time. And again, that's not a knock on them. Congratulations. That's a product of timing. I love that. Brian's one of those people that it wouldn't matter which company, as long as he believed in the product or service, it wouldn't matter which company he was in. He gets it because principles are timeless, and he's got those timeless principles. And so I love this guy. He's a family man. He makes it happen. And so, Brian, we'd love to get a little bit know about you, some of your style, your leadership. How are you so consistent in what you do, and what are some of the tips that you can give somebody that's looking at this industry? Maybe they've been in the industry for a while, maybe they're brand new, maybe they need a relaunch, because you're always relaunching every single month in a good way.
Well, first of all, thanks for the kind words, Rob. I appreciate and respect you a lot. I think that there's a lot of nuggets that you just dropped in the introduction. I'll give you an example. Upline Magazine, which is now Networking Times, did a story about 18 years ago with me. I got involved in our company when it was 27 years old already. And people told me, the network marketers, the gurus out there said, it's old hat, you've missed the boat, the big earner's already there, you're wasting your time. And I said, I don't want a ground floor company for the sake of it being ground floor. I want a rock solid company tapping into a ground floor industry. And so the article was called Dispelling the Ground Floor Myth. It's not about being the first in line. Quite frankly, I don't like to get the first iPhone. I kind of like waiting a few months to let the bugs get worked out. I don't like to be the first one to download a new software, because I don't want to download bugs into my device. So I don't care about being first. I just want to be best when I go after it. And so I went platinum in our company in 6 months, which was fun.
What is platinum, so they can understand? Because we know there's so many titles. There's the super galactic, triple, quadruple diamond.
To keep it simple, it's our top level. So you created four leadership legs, and so at the end of the day, I feel like the most important thing in this business is consistent focus. There's a lot of people that are very consistent at being unfocused. They're being very consistent at being multitaskers. They're very consistent about chasing the rabbits down the rabbit hole, spinning many plates on their hands. So for me, I feel like what's served me very well for the last 19 years is a very relentless focus and super consistent. I know that Eric Worre put up on his website the replay of me sharing the microwave popcorn scene, the skit I did at the GoPro event a year ago. And I think it's so true. I mean, people keep on opening up the microwave door every 5 or 10 seconds to check and see if popcorn's ready. Well, it needs a minute and a half of consistent heat for it to pop the popcorn. And if you sit there at the microwave, open, close, open, close, open, close, open, close, you can do that for 4 years. You're never going to eat popcorn. So the beginners in network marketing struggle with this. And I also believe that the leadership, sometimes leaders are not being consistent themselves, staying in the income producing activity so they can stay as good examples because their team is following whatever they do. You can't stop doing the discipline, the activities, the income producing activity. You can't stop doing them and then keep on preaching to your team to do them because they'd rather watch a leader than to listen to one any day. So if you're doing X, but you're telling them to do Y, you wonder why there's a disconnect and people get confused. It's like, if people go to your weekly meeting, but they never see you there, then now they look at you as a hypocrite. They don't trust you anymore. Now you better, and if you're not going to go, you better tell people, hey, look, I'm semi-retired. I've made it. I'm sitting where I want to sit, and I've officially gotten off the elevator. And so use me as an example of what you can look forward to. I'm going to still teach you what got me here, but don't watch everything I'm doing or not doing now. So at the end of the day, you can get off the elevator if you want to, if you've landed where you wanted to land, but make sure that you have a very distinct conversation with your team so that they understand that they should not follow what you're doing now, follow what you did before. I like to be in the trenches every day because I want to be relevant. When I talk to people on my team, I want to say, hey, so let me tell you how this meeting at somebody's house worked last night. Let me tell you how I did a 3-way call this morning and got a brand new person started. And so I like to be really, really relevant. That's why I stay focused on being a top recruiter.
And you dropped so many things, we could go so many directions because you talked about there's 2 different types of focus and there's lots of different types. So you talked about focus for the person that's trying to make it happen. And then you talked about for the person that is a leader of how to focus, how to communicate effectively, which are all huge things. If this is all making sense for you guys so far, drop your favorite emoji in the comments, show Brian some love. And if you do end up sharing this training, please drop a share in the comments as well. But here's my question for you. And there's a lot of different things. So one, what are the top income producing activities for the person that is looking at it? What do I do? Because we know that people make the plan for the plan of the plan, and they love to watch 10 hours of trainings and say that they work so hard. At the end of the week, you ask them how many new people they called, and all of a sudden they start thinking about it. And then the second question, if we can get to it, if we remember, because I know there's a lot you can go on the first, is how do you maintain focus when you're burned out? I mean, what if you haven't arrived yet and you're burnt out? Because I don't know, I haven't asked you this question. If you've ever been burnt out, I know I've been burnt out a couple times. And I know some of the things that I had to do and struggles I had to go through, but I want to hear from you those 2 questions.
The first question is, I believe if you're not talking to prospects, whether it be your prospects or your team's prospects, then you're not making money. So everything else, a lot of people would prefer to be Van Wilder and stay in college until they're 30. I don't know if you guys watched that National Lampoon movie. It's funny. You didn't get it, but anyway. So, it's easy to.
I'm typing and listening at the same time.
It's staying in school, is the easy cop out way. It's hey, let me just stay in learn mode, and I don't have to ever go out there and chop down the tree. I'll just keep on sharpening the axe forever. You're never going to chop down the tree if you don't get out there and start swinging. So, income producing activity is the gateway activity that we all have to agree on. That is make or break for our business is prospecting. If you're not prospecting, finding new people to show your information to, then you're dead in the water. So if you're not doing it, your team's not going to do it. And then you're just a whole bunch of people that are excited about a concept, but no business is being built. So I think it's super important that, I wrote an ebook that came out back in June called The 2-A-Day Phenomenon. And the premise of it is 10 pages. You read it in 5 minutes. Or 10 minutes. But the premise of it is to convince you why finding 2 new prospects a day is vitally important to your business and how simple it is to do it. But what's easy to do is also easy not to do. So if somebody goes out and does their 2 exposures today, their business doesn't explode tonight. So they don't see the immediate result from it. So it's easy to let yourself off the hook and not do those 2 exposures tomorrow. And then when you start letting yourself off the hook, then now you've made it easier the next day to let yourself off the hook, because when you did let yourself off the hook, you didn't die. Your business didn't die. You didn't have a heart attack. So it's easy to say, well, life didn't end. So, if I don't do it today as well, then, all is fine. And then you just go down this rabbit hole of just slipping away from your business. So I feel like the second question that you had there.
Real quick on the first question, I hope you guys are, because everybody's going to hear things at different times. I hope you guys are taking notes, and I hope that you guys are really just absorbing this, because he's talking about, again, we keep talking about consistency. Successful people just do the basics better. Successful people just do the basics better. Brian is the epitome of successful people. He just does the basics better. He just does the deal. And there's so many people that are so skilled that can't do that. I remember my very first month, I went out and I did $45,000 in sales, never had done network marketing, was really scared, but invited a lot of people. I wasn't a good presenter. And I did exactly what you're talking about. The second month, I barely did 2,000 of my own personal sales. My team did less, even though I had this pretty big team. And it's because I wanted people to do what I did. And people get in this duplication. Well, guess what's duplicating? Your lack of recruiting. Recruiting is by far the most important thing. Duplication's very important. But if you don't recruit, there's no one to duplicate. If you don't recruit, the people that you did recruit are going to duplicate what you're doing or not doing. And so, I hope you guys are really lasering in on these principles that Brian's teaching. Somebody that's been in the industry, has 300,000 affiliates on his team, has been with this company for 19 years and gets it, and still does these things on a regular basis because he wants to stay in the trenches and he wants to stay plugged in. So question number 2, what do you do when you feel like you haven't quite yet made the money that you want to make and you're just burnt out?
So, and one more thing on question 1. So there's always a time lag. So I put out that free ebook, the 2-a-day phenomenon, back in June. Okay.
What's it called again? We had a couple of people that were asking.
It's the 2-a-day phenomenon. And so
2-a-day phenomenon.
Yeah. So it's not even a book. It's a 10-page document, if you will.
Yeah.
But I put it out there. It's generic, so it's not just for my team. But I did it for my team, and everybody else can use it because there's nothing about my company in it. But I created it because I needed to convince every member of my team why they should be motivated to go out there and do 2-a-day. And so I launched that in June, July, August. August, we had the biggest month in our company and in our team since 2011. In 6 years, the biggest month during the summer when some people don't have the biggest months. Why? Because I launched the book, get people reading it. On our team Facebook page, I have a post that continues to stay pushed to the top because every day I tell people on the team, just go post a comment, did 2, every day that you do your did 2. Now we've got thousands of comments on that one post that says did 2. And every single day people go there and did 2. And it keeps on keeping it top of mind, top of the Facebook page. And so that's so important. But again, if you launch something in June, a lot of network marketing leaders say, this isn't moving the needle. It took us 90 days to really get the needle moved. So keep that in mind. Now, as far as, and Rob, you can give people a link later if they want to go get the free book, is fine.
And I'm typing in here right now what you just said. What I always like to say, summarize, is compensation always catches up to skill set and effort, but it's almost always delayed. People think now, it's like they plant seeds now and hey, where is it? Where is it? Where is it?
Results. You go out and recruit a bunch of people. Sales follow recruits. So you recruit a bunch of people in September. The sales that are going to come from them are going to be November, December. Sales always follows recruiting. If your team is not selling that much, you need new blood. You go get the new blood. It's not going to happen instantly, but within 90 days, you're going to see the results. 60 to 90 days, you're going to see the results. So, but your second question, the burnout thing, I'll just paint some perspective on it. So, success is created by habits, not by activities that you need to force yourself to do every day. If you're forcing yourself to do it, then either you're doing it wrong. Well, frankly, I think you're doing it wrong if you have to force yourself to do it, because you're doing it in a way where you're consciously or unconsciously not congruent with it. You're scared by it, whatever the case is. And by the way, I've been doing this 19 years. By Christmas, I'll have made $20 million in this business. So I'm pretty seasoned, but I still, 20 years into the business, I don't look forward to talking to a server at a restaurant. I don't look forward to talking to the person pumping gas next to me at the gas station. Frankly,
did you guys hear that? As much money as he's made, people always think someday I'm going to make all this money, and someday, I'm going to have the credibility, and someday everyone's going to come, and someday I'm going to love it. Hey, everybody's different. And I love what Darren Hardy says in the Entrepreneurial Roller Coaster. He says it's all a bunch of BS and crap. 95% of the things we do as entrepreneurs, we don't like doing them. And Stephen Covey says, he quoted the great essay, The Most Common Denominator of Success, where Ian Gray talks about, he studied his whole life, and he said that the most common denominator is people that are successful are willing to do what people that aren't successful aren't willing to do. And it's not like they like doing those things, was his insight. They're
Right.
just willing to do it because for you, look at the lifestyle that you get to live with your family. You get to do what you want for the most part when you want. So for you, it's not like you like doing these things, but you love doing this with your family, and so it overcame it. You were willing to do it because you saw that vision and that perspective.
Here's the way I would analogize it. I don't enjoy sitting down quietly and reading. It's not who I don't enjoy reading, but I've read a lot of books because I like what I get from reading. When I work out, when you don't get something like that without working out. Just kidding. But when you work out, I don't enjoy working out. I don't like taking time to go do it. I have a gym in my basement because I didn't want to drive somewhere to go do it. But I personally don't enjoy working out, but I like the results I get from it. I don't like prospecting new people, but I do it because I like the results that I get from prospecting new people. And so when I say that if you're getting burned out, you're not doing it right. I'm not saying that you're not doing it right. I'm saying that what you just mentioned, you have not connected the activity that you don't enjoy doing with the amazing result you're going to get from it. And so for me, for example, I don't like brushing my teeth in the morning. I don't like doing it, but you do it. It becomes, if you did it when you're a kid, as an adult, I don't think about like, all right, do I really want to brush? You just habitually brush your teeth in the morning. And so when you're going to get into a real great rhythm, and you won't get burnt out if you're doing your 2-a-days. It's just who you are. It's just how you operate in life. You brush your teeth. You eat 3 meals a day. You breathe. You drink water. There are certain things you do. So you just got to do 2 a day. And when you create that habit, you don't have to you might have to decide, am I going to talk to that prospect versus that prospect? But you're still going to be getting your 2-a-days done. And when that becomes so habitual, your success is inevitable. And when you can lead by example, if I don't go on my Facebook wall or Facebook team page and post that I did my 2, my team will notice it. So I make sure I get my 2-a-days so I can go in there and say, hey, did my 2. So everybody says, oh yeah, he's doing it. And then they want to be like you, so they do it as well.
I love that. That's such a major key. The other thing I like about what you just did there, I think a huge tip that you guys can all take, and I'm taking, is the accountability factor that Brian just gave, because it's a good idea. But what Brian's done is he said in his Facebook group, and you guys can all do this with your teams, is he's holding everyone else accountable by holding himself accountable. And he's basically saying, hey, you want what I have? Do what I did, but also do what I'm doing. I'm leading by example. I'm leading from the front right now. And if you're not leading from the front, like you said, you just got to be upfront. People know it. Tell them, hey, I'm semi-retired. You want to have what I have? Here's what I did. I can mentor you from afar. And that's okay. It's just effective communication wherever you're at in your business. But I love what Brian's saying. And like Brian said, and I know he talks about it probably in his, I haven't read your ebook. I've read your 2 books. But how long does it take to talk to new people? We're trying to figure out ways to work hard and be busy, but not really work. Think about it. How hard is it to talk to 2 new people? And if you did that for an entire year, what would your business look like? If you did that and you played the long game, which is what network marketing is about. If you want to sign up for a job, there's a lot of other things you can go out and make a lot more money in your first year, but you're in this for the residual income. You're in this for 3, 4, 5 years from now. And if you are, in it for the long game. Imagine if you did this for 5 years. What would your results look like? For me, I've told everybody, my business changed when I started looking at network marketing as a 7, 10, 15, 20 forever year plan. At the beginning, I said that, but in the back of my mind, I didn't really think that. I hoped I found that one person that did all the work rather than me doing the work and being the person. And too many people do that in network marketing. So Brian, what would be some of your parting advice, if any? You've already given so many. People are just going crazy on the comments and getting a ton of value. I know I am. I'll go back and watch this and take some notes. It'll be fun to do that. We're all at different parts of our business. But any parting advice that you can give to the group?
I would. I suspect that there's anybody who's on this page, they're serious about network marketing. Whether they're a serious beginner or they're a serious top earner already. I know I've got a lot of friends that participate in this page. Right. So I would say that a big question everybody needs to ask themselves are you truly coachable? Are you a great mentee? Because a mentor-mentee relationship, it's a two-way street. And everybody says that they expect so much of their mentor. Let's flip the script and say, okay, are you being a good mentee? Are you actually coachable? I see so many leaders out there in our profession that frankly feel like they've arrived. They feel like they know everything. There's nothing more to learn. Do what I say, or you're not going to succeed. And it's like, I'm forever a student. I love going to GoPro, not just because I speak on stage, but I also get a chance to get around a whole bunch of other people that I could actually grab some inspiration and some tips and some nuances that I can apply in my life and my business. So, but it's frustrating, and everybody, I'm sure, on this feed can relate. We can always point the finger at everybody else. We should always think about stop being so critical, because we have to, look at ourselves as well. But think about the last time you were talking to somebody in your organization and you got frustrated because they just flat out are not listening to you. They're doing all the talking, they're doing no listening. And you just want to shake them and you're like, I can show you how to succeed if you just listen. Have you ever thought that maybe your mentor is thinking that way about you? We should all be very lucky to have a mentor. I don't care if you're Tiger Woods, Jordan Spieth, Michael Jordan, LeBron James, everybody who's great still has a coach when they're great. So I just think that all of us, if we all want to elevate to the next level, if we want to go from 50 grand a month to 100 grand a month, or 200 grand to 400 grand a month, wherever you guys are right now, 5 grand to 10 grand a month, the people that got you where you are not going to be the same people who are going to get you where you want to go. Speaking of your downline, and speaking of the people you're learning from. And so just ask yourself, am I truly being coachable? Am I doing too much talking and not listening? I think if we're a good recruiter, it means we're asking good questions and we're listening more, because recruiting is not about us, it's about our prospect. If we don't listen, we can't find out about what in their life is wrong that we can solve with our opportunity. So when prospecting, we need to listen more. When working with our teams, we listen more. We work with our mentor, we listen more. If we just get to be really good listeners, we can all gain so much.
I love that. Well, I'm going to summarize a lot of this real quickly. What was reiterated to me was, if you're talking to 2 brand new people a day and you're actively engaged in your business, then there's a lot of things that will happen. There's magic that happens from doing these basics really well. You, by the law of averages, are probably going to start to find some people that are like-minded. You're going to find a lot of customers. You're going to find a lot of people that eventually you're going to find those few that are your starting 5 if it's a basketball team, that you can run with, that you can sprint with, that see things like you see things. You're going to get better at inviting. You're going to get better at listening. You're going to get better at following up. You're going to get better at closing. And by doing all of that, you're going to start to build a little bit more credibility. And by that, you're going to build even more credibility, because you're going to start to have more success. But it all starts at taking massive action. You can't learn these things just by watching and not actually doing. You learn by doing. Training doesn't work. Work trains. And so you can have all the training in the world, but until you actually do it, you're not going to learn anything. That's what the true knowledge is it's applied knowledge. So go out there and apply these principles. I challenge you to figure out what that accountability is in your Facebook group for your team. And if you're crazy and ambitious and consistent like this guy, like Brian, and you have big goals, maybe you don't, But if you do, and I believe you do if you're watching this, then go create what those daily goals are as far as talking to new people. What are your goals for being actively engaged in income producing activities rather than being in management mode? And I promise you, you come back 6 months from now, a year from now, and you'll say, Brian, that was so helpful. I learned so much. I'm doing a lot better in my business. And I was in analyze, paralyzed, and then I started taking action consistently, and my team started taking action, and everything changed for me. So, Brian, we appreciate you taking time out and making time for all of us. I know I learned a lot. I know everybody else learned a lot. I know everybody's really excited about it. If you guys end up sharing this, please drop a share in the comments, and we'll make sure we go back and try to comment on that and share some love. But appreciate all of you for tuning in. Until the next time.
See you guys.